Welcome to Your Music Saved Us, where two friends blast ourselves into the past to relive and recontextualize the alternative Christian music we grew up listening to in the 1990s. My name is Jay, and I'll be your host for today. And listen, y'all, I'm a little bit worried about our co-host today. He just keeps saying psychotic, deranged, crazy, insane, poke me with a stick. I'm locked up in this tiny cage. Like, he just keeps repeating it over and over. I'm not sure he's okay, but Clifton, are you all right?
I'm not okay. No. Those are some of the more troubling. No, they're not.
Are they really the most troubling lyrics?
No, not even close. They're the weirdest, maybe some of the weirdest lyrics on this album. There's plenty more to be troubled by on this album.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
So, speaking of that, what are we listening to?
We are listening to, and I was wrong about this last time, Jay, because you said, is this their third album? And I was like, no, it's their second album, obviously. And I was wrong. It is their third album, The Insyderz, Fight of My Life, came out in late 1998.
I have questions about the time frame of this, but I'm going to wait till you get to tell us about the band. So I'm just I'm going to hang on.
Okay.
Good. Was this hard to find?
No, it's out there on the streaming stuff and all that, yeah.
Are we getting preached at on this one?
Let's come back to that question in a little bit, Jay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Fair.
Let's put it on the side. We'll just put it on the side burner for now, and we're going to come stir that pot in a little bit.
Okay. Clifton, why are we covering this album?
I don't know. I thought it would be fun to cover, I guess. And sometimes you can just be wrong about things, Jay.
I just want to say, we usually alternate kind of our album picks. And so I guess episode before last was Clifton's, which was Value Pack Incognito. And now He's picked two albums in a row that the band spells their name wrong and the cover art is terrible.
Yes.
So I don't know, man. I don't know. But
we're in a phase.
We'll get through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. Okay, a couple more questions just before we jump in. Was this played in youth group?
I don't think so. I don't remember it being played in youth group. I don't think it was that popular.
Yeah, it wasn't played in mine. I'm sure it was played in some where it was like a cool youth pastor with like bleached blonde hair or something. Like I'm sure they played it, but not mine.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now, before we go on, I do want to remind everyone to visit patreon.com/YMSU to contribute to get extended episodes. I have an idea for something I'm hoping we can record really soon to throw up on there. So, we appreciate all our patrons, and we will have more very soon. Clifton.
Yes.
Tell us about the Insyderz.
Okay. How about I let the Insyderz tell us about themselves.
Okay.
I'll fill in some blanks later, but let's start out with hearing from these preachers to the unwashed, the Insyderz.
Welcome. Your music.
This is them on CBN.
The 700 Club. Actually.
700 Club, yes. Yeah. They just got done playing the song Paradise, which we'll get to later.
As I was listening to it, it's kind of a combination of a little bit of Blues Brothers in there, some punk, there's some rap in there, a little piece of Gregorian chant even in the middle of it. What do you call this style of music?
Well, the style of music that we play is called third wave ska. That's the style. But I think that we're pretty eclectic. We try to bring in all sorts of different genres and mix it in. Joe refers to it as a cornucopia of music.
So is this a resurgence of this style?
Yeah, that's why I say it's a third wave.
Mm-hmm.
Ska actually has its roots in the warmer parts of the world and down in the Caribbean, and then it went to Europe, in England, and that was the second wave. And now it's come to the States in the 90s here, early 80s, and that's the third wave.
The third wave.
So we're riding the third wave.
There you go. Now, with a name like Insyderz, there's got to be a story behind that. In fact, Insyderz, a nice big Z on the end. What's behind the name?
Well, the name itself comes from the book of Colossians, where Paul challenges the believers to be mindful of the way that they act towards outsiders, thus referring to those who believe in Christ as insiders.
Now, where did you get an influence from the Salvation Army? You don't exactly look like the marching band I'm used to.
Well, a lot of us grew up in the Salvation Army. Our parents are pastors for the Salvation Army, actually 2 of us. And then others either worked in the community centers or at the summer day camp programs and stuff like that. So it's also, the Salvation Army is a worship center. And so a number of us go there for worship and actually are members of the Salvation Army. That's our home church.
Oh, that's great. Now, a lot of brass players obviously come from the Salvation Army. Did you recruit from there?
Yeah, Sang Kim and Bram both were raised in the Salvation Army. Actually, every one of our horn players that we've ever had has been from the Salvation Army. So
now, I understand that your mission statement is a little bit different than that of other Christian groups. How so?
One of the things that we try to do as the Insyderz is to minister to other bands as well. Sometimes we will go out on a tour and we'll take out other bands that promoters don't like or that other bands are down on. And part of that is for us to be challenged in our own walks, but also to be able to really kind of revive the music industry and to challenge them in some way, because at some point someone challenged us, or else we wouldn't be doing what we're doing today.
Well, I want to thank you for coming today and blessing us with your music. The group is called the Insyderz, Fight of My Life, and that was Paradise. If you want to get a hold of this, it's available in Christian bookstores around the country, or just give us a call and we'll let you know how you can get a hold of it.
All right. This is the Insyderz. You can tell they're very charismatic. They grew up in the Salvation Army church, which is its own weird thing that we should maybe talk about sometime. Has the excommunication station ever done anything on the Salvation Army?
I'm not sure. I always think
they
Salvation
have.
Army and think like thrift stores. So
Sure.
yeah, I
Yes.
honestly, share my ignorance, I didn't really realize that it was like a denomination.
Oh, it's a church.
Okay.
It's a 501c3 church, which means they don't have to. Well, they're supposed to. There's nothing in the rules that says churches don't have to publish their taxes, just like every other 501c3 in the world has to. But come on, Jay, go tell a church that they have to do something, and some Christians will scream bloody fucking murder that they're being harassed. Like, I don't know. Anyways.
Okay, moving on.
All right. We'll talk about the Salvation some other time, though. All right. So the Insyderz were formed in 1995 by Joe Yerk and Nate Shorgan, or however you say his name there. He just said it. I don't care. Who led a praise and worship team at their church. In 1996, they recorded a 7-inch for Beat Hotel Records with 2 songs that would go on to be on their debut album called Rockin' the Hubcat. Hubcat, Jay.
You sure it's not
Hubcat.
Hubcap?
Nope, it's not. It's Hubcat.
Okay.
I can show it to you on Discogs.
I believe you.
Okay. So they caught the attention of Gene Eugene at Cornerstone, 1996, and they were soon recording their first album with Gene at his Green Room Studios, which was and that album was released in 1997 on Gumshoe Records. I don't really know much about Gumshoe. They only put out this album and then disappeared with the first album, not this album, not the one we're covering. And Beat Hotel Records kind of did the same thing. They put out 5 releases. 4 of those 5 releases were 7 inches, and one of them was an album. And they just disappeared as well. After putting out the first album, they toured with Fold Zandor. And at some point, they also got the attention of Steve Taylor, who brought them onto his newly formed Squint label at that time to put out their second album in early 1998 called The Insyderz Present Scallelujah. After the release of this album, they got super popular, I guess. I don't know. I never listened to it because it's not real music. They toured Scallelujah with Planka and then did a secular tour with the Skeletones and Jeffrey's Fan Club and saved a few of those members on the tour, Jay. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what they mean by outreaching to other bands in that little video clip there.
Okay.
I don't know why, but so Gumshoe disappeared. That other label disappeared. They did the Scalleluia on Squint. And then this album, when this album comes time to do this album, they do it on KMG. And KMG came out of nowhere, and they kind of just took over Frontline's entire catalog, which of course included Frontline, but also like Alorma and some other smaller subsidiaries as well. Before this album came out, though, in late 1998, they released an EP with one song called Paradise from this album, and also the cover that they do on this album, Just What I Needed by the Cars, and then one other song, and then 2 alternate versions of, anyways. Okay. By the time of this album, the Insyderz were Joe Yerk on vocals, Bram Roberts on trumpet, Sang Kim on trombone, Kyle Wassel on guitar, Nate Surgeon on drums, and Bo McCarthy on bass. And this album was produced by Barrett Jones and Paul Hampton, recorded and mixed by Gene Eugene.
So, okay, just a couple of thoughts. So I did have Scalleluia, and I think I liked it more than this, even though I know it's all covers. But
yeah,
that was Squint, which when that record label came out was like a really big deal because it was Steve Taylor. Mm-hmm. He had signed Sixpence, these guys. I think Chevelle was originally on that. It was kind of like this was going to be the next big hot thing.
Yeah.
LA Symphony that we talked a little bit about when we did Brainstorm Project, but it was like Brainwash Projects, but it was like it somehow ran out of money pretty quickly. That LA Symphony thing never even got released. And so I don't know, that definitely must have affected Insyderz because they did Scalleluia too, but I think it came out on BMG after this. And so I don't know. Part of me also wonders if I'm curious when this was recorded, I guess, because the Scalleluia album, in my memory, I have not listened to it, but has even better production than this and stuff. I just wonder if this got released later, but was I don't know, maybe recorded before.
Well, it's interesting because I read in an article that this album had 6 times the budget that Motor City Skull, their first album, had.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious if some of the label troubles, stuff maybe didn't get released after it was recorded or whatever. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is all the order it happened in, but something was definitely going on.
I know that later on, after Scalleluia 2, they kind of stopped doing things for a while because of label. They're just tired of label politics, basically.
And I will say, and I'll stop talking about this after this, but and I know we say this on a lot of bands on here, I will say I do wonder what would have happened to them had they been on something more I'm going to say it, but Tooth and Nail or something that was a little more a label had an identity, and it could kind of push them in certain directions. Would have been curious to see what happened.
Challenge them, maybe.
Yeah. And I just feel like KMG is what even is that? There was no identity with that, No,
it's just a continuation of Frontline.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yes. I agree.
Okay, just a couple questions, Clifton. I already asked you earlier, why are we doing this? But what are your memories with this album? When did you have it? Did you pick it up? What do you remember about it?
So I told this a little bit last time, but after the first album came out, I was a fan of the first album, which I think is a better album than this album, in the sense that it has more going on, more creativity on it. I think more joyfulness, maybe in the process. But when the ads started coming out for this album, I was very excited because I thought it was going to be maybe a darker, Insyderz always had a little bit of a darkness to them, on that first album. And I was thinking, okay, they're going to lean into that, I think, because especially if you look at the cover art, it's kind of them dressed in dark suits and it's all in sepia tone, and it looks like they're going to go in a direction, and it's not that, Jay. It's just. We'll get to it. Yeah. But I think I listened to it a few times and then I was just never impressed with it and just left it behind, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you listen to this at the time?
I did not. I had their first album, and I think by then I was I'm not as into ska. And I'll be honest, even back then I was this looks dumb. The cover art, I was just like, even young Jay back then was like discerning enough to go,
Yeah.
I'm passing this one over. So no, this is my first time to have ever listened to this.
Okay. It's probably my fourth time to ever listen to this. So this is, we are doing this album, Jay. That's all I have to say about it.
All right. Well, do we want to jump into it?
Before we do that, I want to kind of a little bit of what they were saying in that interview there with 700 Club. I want to. This is from a 7 Ball magazine interview / article that actually came out in January of 1999, but this came out like the end of the year. The album came out at the end of the year of 98, so this is concurrent with the album coming out. Okay, and it starts like this: the Insyderz are venturing beyond the confines of the Christian market. Call them crazy, call them naive, but whatever you do, don't call them unchristian. News that ska-core band The Insyderz are pursuing a mainstream career may come as a surprise to fans of their groundbreaking praise and worship collection, The Insyderz Presents Hallelujah, but it shouldn't. We just feel God has put us together as a band to reach the unsaved, lead singer and co-founder Joe Yerk says. Whether that means we put out CDs that go into secular stores or playing on secular tours, we're willing to do it, and we're willing to do it 100%. What that really means is that their latest release, Fight of My Life, is a radical departure from Hallelujah. The songs reflect a maturation of sorts, and with a production budget nearly 6 times what was spent on the last record, they consider Fight of My Life an all-around better record. The message is a lot more ambiguous than Hallelujah's, in a calculated effort to not frighten away the secular market. This is an album where if believers heard it, they'd be like, right on, we know what you're singing about, Yerk says. But if a non-believer heard it, they wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, this is a Christian band.
Yes, they would.
Yes, they would. I want us to judge this album based on this goal here as we go through this. But then I really love this part here later on when they're talking about playing in secular clubs. Quoting Joe again here, I don't want to see one more ska kid come to a show drunk. I don't want to see one more unmarried couple go home from one of our shows and have sex. Good goal, Joe. Good goal.
One of the things I find interesting about this, and we heard it a lot, I just never thought of it like this till now, is like, these Christian bands are acting like it's a huge sacrifice for them to like go on the road with like Jeffrey's Fan Club and the Skeletones and stuff and play all these probably great ska shows.
Right, yes.
At clubs like, oh, it's a big sacrifice. I'm sure that was way better than playing these churches where you're misunderstood and at least you're playing to like older people rather than just a bunch of like 13-year-olds in a youth group. Like, come on.
Probably people who could afford to buy your album.
Right.
First off, you know. People who want to be there to see you and weren't just forced to go because the youth group is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that touring clubs and bars is the life, but it's probably a better life than touring churches as a
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Band.
Maybe when you're so religious that, you know, that's all you think about, then maybe it's different. But I'm just guessing as a young band who's probably just thrilled to be on tour.
Yeah. Right.
That would be better than the church thing.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right. You want to jump in?
Let's do it.
Song number 1, Jigsaw.
So this song actually starts off with some energy, which is nice for the album. It's a pretty standard, and we're going to hear the Insyderz refer to themselves quite a bit as ska-core, you know. By the way, can we appreciate the explaining ska to that lady in that interview? It's just... we were all such pretentious dicks back then, you know, like, and I'm including myself here, you know, just chef's kiss, amazing kind of cringe looking back on it. Anyways, it's a pretty standard ska-core song with an opening part with horns and distorted guitar and upbeats, you know, because they're really breaking the mold here, Jay, because they're actually doing upbeats with a distorted guitar and not just a clean guitar, man. And then a verse that has like clicky guitars. And then they have an attempt at it. I want to say an anthemic like an anthem-like chorus, and it's not very good. But we'll get back to that in a second.
I just want to say it always is funny to me when like I've never seen your notes before this episode, and like I have very similar things to say. Mine just says chorus just isn't that catchy. Like the horn lines after it are better and more memorable than the chorus.
And that's a real problem on this entire album.
Yes.
Which we will
agree.
See. Yes. I do like the bass kind of in the verses here. So we're going to listen to a little bit of a verse here and then into a chorus.
Search the what about the maybes? I think about the time to spend trying to separate these. Trip it to the brink, maybe push it crazy. I've seen the enemy and the enemy is me. Can't find any longer, bells ready one. Didn't see it earlier, how could I miss the time? Pieces of the sky, looking in my eyes. Got my own supper, how they rock that night. Time is up, bus is gone. Puzzles laid out on the floor. Felt that peace in my hand, and though I've seen it before. Empty space, incomplete is a puzzle of my soul. In my search, on my knees, upon our precept, it's the whole.
I think that the chorus, it's going for that anthem feel, but has way too many words, and so you can't really sing along to it, and it's a little catchy, but it's not catchy enough, and I don't know. If it has good energy and it's fine, but it's not great.
Yeah, same. I felt like that the whole way through these songs, and almost every song I was like, God, the chorus is like the worst part. Like,
yes,
that one was just like da 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 da. It's just like, I don't know. That almost sounds like a verse. Like it just
right. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I think the verses are better.
Yes, definitely.
But they're not like serving the purpose of a chorus better.
Yeah.
Right. Because some bands do that. Some bands do, like, they have great choruses, or they have great verses, and their choruses are just blah. But that's not what's going on here. There's the bridge that comes up next. He says, "One more time for the man," for some reason. I don't know why.
Who is this man we're speaking of?
Right, yeah.
One time for the man.
I think, that kind of builds into something nice. And then they try to go into, once again, this, what is supposed to be an anthemic chorus, but it's not.
Yeah, and also you just played something right there that is another thing with this album, is his vocal styling. Like, time for the man! Like, he tries to do some Dickie Barrett boss tones at places, but then
yes,
other times he's not at all like that. And I feel like you got to be all or nothing if you're going to do that vocal style. Like, switching back and forth is just weird.
But even Dickie Barrett, like, he has range that, I don't know. When Joe's doing Dickie Barrett, it's like an affectation, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when Dickie Barrett is doing the gruff thing, it's in line with the other things that he's doing, right? Because that is his voice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree, and we're gonna get to a great boss tones comparison here at the end of the episode.
Oh, good.
Because I do think that's the kind of thing they're going for with this song, by the way. I think this song is supposed to sound like the boss tones. And then, I'm sorry that I'm just all negative with this, I guess. But like we get the ending of the song here. I think they kind of try to go hard with this, but it just comes off as a what are you guys doing kind of thing.
It is a puzzle of my soul. If I search on my knees, I found the precept, it's the whole. Drop it. Bring the noise. Yeah. Drop it. Yo.
So many bands, so many ska bands can build an entire song around like skanking to the beat, or things like that are just like, oi, 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 they're just like ska sayings. I don't know what the right word here is,
Yeah.
And these guys utterly fail to even like, and I feel like it's because like a lack of joy, like a lack of, I feel like they're just trying. Does that make sense? Like they're not doing, they're trying.
I also wonder, and I get this when I read the lyrics, obviously, and you talked about how like the chorus just has way too many words shoved in it. It almost is like the music is just a vehicle for the lyrics, so they're like trying to cram these ideas in there and things, and it's just
that's a good point.
Just not like working.
Which is what happens, right? When you're like, oh, I'm gonna write this as the goal of this album is to say these things. And so you're right. You just end up with like, do I have enough room to say the things?
Yeah.
You don't end up with art, which is where I keep coming. We'll get there. We'll get to it later. Okay. Did you know this song has a music video, Jay? You really didn't?
Oh, you know what? I think I watched about 5 minutes of this and was like, nope. But go ahead.
So I'm just gonna play in the background as silent while I explain it to Jay. It's on YouTube. You can find it, the Insyderz Jigsaw. It has a phenomenal pixel rating of probably about like 34 pixels across and 24 pixels tall. So it's great looking. Like it doesn't look like it was shot on my Nikon digital camera that I bought in 2001, right? And it just goes back and forth between them playing in a large space, wearing either suits or rockabilly shirts.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the clothes they were wearing on that 700 Club.
Which are the same ones here.
Yes.
They're just different colors. It's the same rockabilly with like a flame across its shirt.
Yeah, but like kind of bad. Like you saw at Hot Topic for a while, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
Like
uninteresting rockabilly
they
shirt.
should be embarrassed by it.
Mass produce, like I can produce 24 different designs in one day kind of rockabilly shirt, right?
Yeah.
And it's just them playing in a large space, and sometimes it's in black and white and sometimes it's in color, and it doesn't really seem to matter when. I think it's just an afternoon. I think they just had an afternoon at this place.
Which is a little bit interesting because, and I guess I'm sort of jumping to lyrics slightly, is like the song is called Jigsaw. That theme is carried through the lyrics. Like
you could do something with that.
Yeah, and not even on a high budget.
Right, because I mean Jigsaw is literally a visual metaphor, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally a visual metaphor. And then this is the song that you make a video for, and you don't use the visual metaphor at all. Not great, guys. Just, I guess it got you on, what was the Christian
700 Club.
They did show this on 700 Club. They showed this video, and they did a little interview, and then they played Paradise Live, and then they did the awkward interview that we played, yeah. So I guess it did do that. It got him on 700 Club. That's not what I was talking about. I meant like whatever that one show was that played Christian
music videos. Oh, G-Rock or something. I don't know.
Okay. All right, we'll stop talking about this. All right, let's move on to the lyrics. And you know what we're not going to do for this entire episode, Jay?
Please don't read them all.
We are not going to read any of these lyrics.
We're not going to read any? Okay, wow.
Well, I mean, like, we're not going to like read any songs in full because they're too boring. The people would just turn off the show. I think I would. So,
I mean,
that's where we are.
I feel like I can just read the chorus to the song, the one that we complained about, and you can probably get the gist of what they're talking about.
Read the chorus, Jay.
Okay. The top is off, the box is gone, the puzzle's laid out on the floor. I've held the piece in my hand. I know I've seen it here before. Empty space, incomplete, is the puzzle of the soul. If I search on my knees, I know I'll find the piece that fills the hole. First of all, that is a whole fucking chorus that they repeat multiple times.
4 times.
Way too long. But then also just hearing it, you're like, oh. missing pieces, puzzle. Oh,
Yeah.
if I pray, I'll get. Okay, yeah, we all. Anybody who was in the church can. Yes.
And look, anyone in the church is going to see through this faster than maybe someone who's never heard of Jesus before in their entire life. But people aren't stupid either.
Yeah.
Right. If you're a secular person and you saw this, you'd be like, oh, it's about Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
That's not
it's not
hard.
hidden. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you're not looking at this being like, oh, let me rephrase that. You are looking at this being like, oh no, this is a Christian album.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all we need. I appreciate the end, which is where it says, if I only saw it earlier, how could I have been so dumb? The peace was in the sky, reflected in my eyes. Now my old self I hardly recognize. That's all you really need to know about the song, Jay. Speaking of hardly recognizing yourself.
Song 2.
Song 2.
What happened to Joe?
This song is obviously them listening to Less Than Jake. The last one was the Boss Tones. This one's Less Than Jake. Everyone clear? Okay.
Now, to be fair, I did think the beginning of the song was like, I was like, oh, they're trying something different here. I mean, for the first, 10 seconds or so.
You want me to read? I'm going to read to you my notes about this song, Jay.
Go for it.
This song has a cold open that makes no sense at the beginning of the song. And then 15 seconds into the song, it's like 2.5 minutes earlier. You know those awkward cop shows where they show the murder and then it's like 3 days earlier.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
So there's like a flashback in this
Yes,
song.
this is a flashback episode. Let's start with the flashback here.
No, I can't, I know I can't, I want to lead a different life. I know I can't, I know I can't, I want to lead a different life. I know I can't, I know I can't, I want to lead a different life. I know I can't, I know I can't, I want to lead a different life. Yeah.
And maybe I would find that less weird if it didn't start off with, I know I can, I want to lead a different life. When this is supposed to be an album that you wouldn't immediately pick as a Christian album, you know? Because here's the thing. Guys, I want you to look me in the eyes. Insiders, it's just you and me right now. Most people care about, like, the world. They don't just care about themselves leading a different life, okay? Most people don't obsess over their own sins. That's a Christian thing. Everyone knows what you're talking about immediately when you start talking about this. Most people are like, they might have a song like, I want to make a difference in the world, which is how you end this song, which is that's how you should have began. We'll get there.
Also, it reminds me of that. God, sorry to bring this album up, but it reminds me of Free at Last by DC Talk when they had that little clip in between songs that was like, willpower, the power to will away temptation, all that.
Yeah,
and it's just that idea of like, yes, if I focus hard enough, I know I can. I could be a different person,
Right.
Yeah.
Let's this is such a weird song lyrically, but we have to stay away from the lyrics for a second.
All right.
That's what we're doing. All right. My next note is just that very awkwardness was misplaced in the song. It should have come at the end, and the end should have come at the beginning. But we'll get there. But then it has some nice energy to it again. So Jay, we did an unreleased episode. The very first thing we ever recorded for this podcast was covering Insyderz first album.
True, to see if we knew what we're doing, and we probably still don't, but we were like, oh yeah, we could do this. So we did it after that. It is available to patrons on our Patreon if you want to hear us. I think we were definitely nicer than we are now about this one.
We were not.
Were we not?
No.
Oh shit.
I
okay.
wasn't.
All right.
Remember, I had a whole chart about gun violence.
You did. No, that was good. No, you did.
But one thing that was a topic of that episode was how persecuted the Insyderz feel, right? And this song continues that. The energy in this song is entirely dedicated to feeling persecuted. Because after this whole weird, I know I can, I want to lead a different life thing, the very first line that they scream at you is, why do they hate me? That's the verse. And I say the verse because there's one verse. They sing it like 4 times, but that's the verse. And then they do it again. On the third chorus, they kind of do this slow down thing that I think works pretty well. And this is where you're going to hear your Less Than Jake. I forgot to go back and look at what Less Than Jake song it reminds me of, but everyone's going to hear it.
What happened to Joe? The guy I used to know. No, I can't, I know I can't. Watch you make a difference in this world. I know I can't. Watch you make a difference in this world. I know I can't. No, I can't. I watch you make a difference in this world. I know I can't. Watch you make a difference in this world. No, I can't. I know I can't. Watch you make a difference in this world. I know I can't.
That's just boring.
To me, and that song's a good example, the only interesting parts on those songs are the horn parts. Like, they're kind of
Yes.
fun. They're kind of doing some cool stuff.
Yes. The vocals are boring and the lyrics are cringy. Is that the right word, do you think?
Yeah.
Especially if you look at them in the light of their goal to not have you look at this album and immediately recognize it as a Christian album.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, you're right. I will say the guitar is sometimes okay, and the bass is sometimes okay, but the vocals and the lyrics are completely lacking on this album. They are the failure of this album.
Yeah. That's why part of me is like, was this rushed? This is like the sophomore slump, even though this is...
No, I think that they thought about this a lot. I think that you're right, where the message was more important than the lyrics being relatable or interesting, or the vocals being interesting, or poppy, or catchy, or whatever you want to say, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, once again, I want to point out that end part, I know I can, I want to make a difference in this world. That is something that people can relate to. What most people who aren't Christians aren't obsessed with their own sins don't relate to is, I want to lead a different life, or I want to lead a better, whatever. What did he say? I forget.
Yeah, I guess they want to leave a different life.
Yeah. That's just not something most people think about unless they're just like stuck in a horrible place,
Right.
And then they're stuck there. So like, there's a reason, right? Just telling them to find Jesus is a fuck you to them, basically. Like kind of like we talked about last time on the Value Pack episode on Preacher Man,
Yeah, it's just so insensitive to stuff. Like, you're like, well, just pray about it.
Yeah.
Just God will help you. God will pull you out. Just keep praying. You're not praying hard enough. And it's like,
Right.
It's no.
Yes. All right, let's get to the lyrics here, which once again we're not going to read. But the first line is, "Why do they hate me? What did I do to them?" It's basically a song about, I think it's about becoming a Christian and your friends don't like you anymore because you've become a self-righteous asshole.
Yeah.
And Joe and they're wondering like, what did I do?
Yeah.
So,
Because let's be real, if you are actually acting like Jesus, and I don't mean people's version of Jesus, but just purely as like we see him depicted in the Gospels, like really
Right.
loving, I don't think anyone would have a problem with you. They think
loving
like,
and accepting of the people that society outcasts.
yes, they'd be like, oh, Joe's a great dude. Like,
Right. But when you're walking around thinking like, I wish I led a different life, like, okay, you okay, Joe? What happened to you?
Yeah.
Jay, what would you do if a good friend of yours all of a sudden became Christian and only like evangelical, not just Christian, but evangelical, and like all they talked about was how they need to get their life better with God, and they need to stop doing all those sinful things, and how you need to do that too, Jay.
Yeah, I would just stop talking to them.
Right. Me too. You know why? Because they would be annoying as fuck.
Yeah.
And like I'd probably worry about them and try to talk them out of it for a while, but after a while you just have to give up and be like, oh, they're just gonna do this asshole thing now, I guess.
Well, and that's the thing is, I think like most people in general are usually trying to do the right thing and are
Right.
not trying, and are trying to treat people well. I don't mean anything about God or anything. I just mean in general,
No.
like it's how you get through life. It's how you're
Right.
accepted by community. It's how it's like people genuinely, try to
Right.
do the right thing, I think, most of the time.
And even people who don't do the right thing, a lot of times, I'm not making excuses for them, but I'm saying that a lot of times in their own story, they are the good guys, right? Now, something has happened there to confuse that if they are, legitimately not doing good things,
Yeah.
And some people are just psychopaths, right? But I think that you're right. Everyone's the hero of their own story, right? No one's out there being like, how can I ruin today? How can I ruin today for other people? If they are doing that, it's probably due to like trauma or an upbringing that skewed their values or something like that. Things like that. It's not due to, for most people, it's not due to wanting to hurt other people.
Right.
So, Insyderz, once again, not great here on reaching out to the unwashed masses.
Yeah.
Speaking of Paradise, I tried to come up with as I was doing this album, I tried to come up with a segue between every song, and I just gave up immediately.
Yeah, I was like, okay. So, yeah, let's jump to song 3, Paradise.
All right. This song is trying to sound like Five Iron Frenzy. Maybe a flowery song. Maybe I Feel Lucky. But I've already said it once. The Insyderz are incapable of either being truly joyful or sarcastic. I do think, though, that the guitar riff, into the horns is nice, but it is clearly a ripoff of Five Iron Frenzy. And then when the vocals kick in, you're going to hear even more bad Reese impression from Joe. See? Immediately, right?
See the sun shining down on me. I take a big deep breath and think there's no other place that I wanna be. I look at the sky, the grass and the trees, and all the neat things living in the sea. That's what South Park.
Do you remember a flowery song by Five Iron Frenzy?
Oh, yeah.
That is, they're trying to rip that off, right?
It's definitely similar sound, similar lyrics. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But without any of the joy or that kind of darkness sarcasm that Five Iron Frenzy has. See, like Five Iron Frenzy has a sarcasm to them that is born truly of knowing what it's like to be neurospicy, right? Like to not be what everyone expects you to be, right? Whereas I think, and maybe I'm being an ass here, but I think the Insyderz, or at least Joe, doesn't know what that's like. I think that he's a little more simple. I really sound like an ass. I'm going to stop talking. I don't know. It's just he doesn't have the capability of being sarcastic. And I think it's because he doesn't know what it's like to have darkness, like to face darkness. I think he knows what it's like to be darkness, but I don't think he knows what it's like to face darkness. And I'll leave that up to everyone to interpret. Back to the song. It does that. It does all that thing they just did. It does it again. There's kind of a bridge where Joe does like a chuck, 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 which once again sounds exactly like fucking Five Iron Frenzy. And if this was like a love letter to Five Iron Frenzy, I think that'd be fine. But I don't think it is. I don't think that that's what they were. I think that this is just attempting to rip off Five Iron Frenzy. I don't think that it has. I think it's too lazy and too not self-aware enough to be a Five Iron Frenzy love letter.
Yeah, just as you were playing it though, I don't know, not really thinking about Five Iron Frenzy, but thinking about that Scallelujah album, and just in my memory of being like, oh, this is actually pretty good. I think that says a lot though, because like, again, the horn parts on this are not bad. Some of the other stuff's all right, but it's like the lyrics and the vocals and the vocal delivery is the real problem. So like, of course, when they're doing cover songs, like
it's
they're putting their own spin on it, it's fine. But it's just like, yeah, he's just really struggling to like make that fit really well.
Yeah,
I woke on a beautiful thing. It just, I don't know.
Let's get to, because we haven't listened to the chorus yet, and I think this is the most disappointing chorus on the entire album.
Yeah, it sounds like a pre-chorus. You think something's coming after it, but there's not anything.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, you woke on a beautiful day. Step outside to see the sun shining down on me, and take a big deep breath and think there's no other place that I wanna be. I look at the sky, the grass and the trees, and all the neat things living in the sea. Ask myself, how could this be? God made this so great for me. I wanna see just what it's like to catch a glimpse of paradise. I wanna see just what it's like to catch a glimpse of paradise.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because, you know, it does sound like a pre-chorus, because it doesn't resolve into, like, it's like you're slowing down to get ready to ramp back up again, and then it never ramps back up again. It's just like, I think I wrote in my notes that this chorus both is somehow unearned and resting on its laurels at the same time.
Yeah.
So this was a single. This song was a single for the album. And I just don't know what to think about that, because I think isolated, it's a fine song. I mean, in the sense that it's like fine, like it's sure, good job. I think when you know that Five Iron Frenzy exists, it sounds weirder. When you know that it's the single for the album, you're like, you wonder why. And then you really wish the chorus was better, or you maybe wish that it had a chorus. Either way. All right, that's all I got to say about that.
I mean, my note for these lyrics is just, God, these lyrics are terrible in all caps.
Yeah. My note is, sometimes life is great, and that's why I love God. Is that really all you have? Fuck off.
Well, should we go to the next song?
No, because we still have to judge this song by the standards of their reaching out to the unwashed masses, right?
Okay, all right.
Here's how the song ends. I have my faith, and that's all that I need. It's so easy, I just want you to see. Shut your eyes and take a giant leap.
I mean, the guys in the shirts with their flames on it are telling me so. You know, maybe I do need to just shut my eyes and take the leap. Oh my God.
Yeah. You would never immediately think that this was a Christian album. The pretense is thick.
So, Clifton, next song, number 4, The Hunted. I gotta be honest, in my notes I even wrote, it said, by this point, I'm wondering why in the world Clifton chose to do this album.
I thought there would be some little bit of joy in this album that we would find, honestly. I thought I would come back to it and be like, oh man, maybe I was too hard on it back in the day.
It's true. Me listening through, I was like, surely there's one song that's like a pretty good bop, you know, and like something I could like put on repeat.
Yeah.
Nope.
No. Not on this album. All right. So as you said, the next song is The Hunted. Okay. Once again, if you have heard our unreleased episode covering the first album by the Insyderz, you will know that I declared that the best song, and maybe the only good song on that album, was the song Sacrifice. which is a hardcore song about the crucifixion. Which sounds crazy, but it works. I want to play a little taste of it here so everyone can hear it.
Taken in the night from a prayer with his father. Didn't try to fight, no, he didn't even bother. Betrayed and denied by the ones he loved. But he knew this was the reason he was sent from above. He was the king, the Christ, the spotless lamb. But in our eyes, he was nothing but a sham. His love, the drive, his life, the pride. To become the sinner's sacrifice. Led to the hill where his death he'd meet. Then we drove huge nails in his hands and his feet. Suffocated death was now all he felt. And in the crowd, some wept and knelt. For our sins and this man died. Jesus took his last breath. And then he closed his eyes. Closed his eyes. I've been washed in the blood of the Lamb. I've been washed in the blood. What can I give him, as poor as I am? If I was a shepherd, I'd give him a lamb. If I was a wise man, I'd do my part. What can I give him? I'll give him my heart. What can I give him, as poor as I am? If I was a shepherd, I'd give him a lamb. If I was a wise man, I'd do my part. What can I give him? I'll give him my heart. I've been washed in the blood of the Lamb. I can give him my heart. I've been washed in the blood of the Lamb.
I'm not saying that's a perfect song. We had criticisms of it at the time, but I think it's a surprise in how well it works. This hardcore song with horns about the crucifixion of Jesus works.
I appreciate you bringing that back because I clearly have not listened to that since then. So it was kind of nice to revisit it for a second.
Yeah. It's a nice song. I think it's melodic and it's fun. And the screaming is nice and like it really evokes an emotion, you know? I think it works. I think it works as a song.
Okay.
All right. This song 100% tries to cash in on the promise of that song. And it doesn't. 100%. I mean, I think it's one of the better songs on the album, once again.
Just not saying a lot. There are a couple points on the song I do like too, for sure.
Me too. That's what I'm saying.
But there's a few that I definitely do not.
Yes. And I think the intro is one of the parts that bothers me the most because I think, once again, it's trying too hard. It's too cute by half. That they're trying to make you, like, they're trying to do a hardcore song. Whereas the other one just was like, let's start with two really annoying horn blasts, you know? And it worked. And this one tries to be a hardcore song. And I think that's the first problem I have with it. And that's when that's like we're this far. We're over half a minute in before the horns come in. I think that's a failure because I think the really fun part about the last time was the horns being there the whole time and kind of being a feature of the song. But the horns are about to come in, and then the vocals come in after that. And I think that this is when the song starts working.
I'm hiding in my secret place built up in my mind. I'm searching for the rest that I can never find. My wrists held with metal, shackled to the floor. Torture like this I've never seen before. I dream about revenge and how sweet it will be when you're locked up in this cage, staring back at me. Colors fade to black, darker than my sin. Can I give up now? I cannot just give in. I'm wrestling with this beast, I cannot see his face. Spits on me and dust, I can't be push me in my place. His dictatorship is vile, kingdom built on pain. Your evil board and everyone is how we play this game. You become the haunted, psychotic, deranged, crazy, insane. Poke me with a stick, I'm locked up in this tiny cage. You have me, I'm yours, treat me how you will, with hate.
And it kind of repeats this over and over again. There's a part that's good towards the end, which we'll get to. But it just, I like the part that it's like the da, da, and you become the haunted. I think they really could have built a fun song off of that. But the verse feels so long. It just feels like it goes on for hours.
I don't love the rap rock thing either.
Yeah.
Later, and not to spoil it, but they have another vocalist come in that's the second part rapping who is much better. Yes. Rapper. And when that came on, I was like, oh, this just got interesting.
We're going to go there in like 30 seconds, Jay, but first I want to tell me if you hear the words pussy in my face right here.
Spits on me and dust, I can't be push me in my place.
Did you hear it?
I mean, I did hear puts me in my place, but it's funny that you say that. Now that's what I'm going to hear, but yeah.
Okay. Anyways, I really do like the "you become the haunted" thing. I think it could have been a good song.
Fair, yeah.
I don't know why they
that
didn't go in that
right,
direction. Yeah. After the second verse, it goes into, like, as Jay said, this kind of rap thing, which is a more rappy thing, a better rappy thing. But once again, it goes on.
It's really fucking long, yeah.
Way too long.
You become the haunted. Evil surrounds me as the hunt begins. Good versus evil, me and you, round one of Armageddon. I'm covering your way, so hurry. Releasing God's fury, one judge, no jury. Your demise, you'll me so worried. My sworn enemy, by any means, I'm gonna bring you pain. Representing heaven in this life or death game. Maintain my cool, though my heart pumping like an engine. You had your time, now it's time for my revenge.
It's not over yet, guys.
Rage controls my body, your tears are running down. But it is only fitting that you're the hunted now. So I'll hunt you down with the wrath of God within me. Not here to take your life, so you can give it up freely. Hear me in the night as I make you go insane. As my non-stop chant starts to seep into your brain.
Alright, now it's over. I don't, it doesn't say, oh wait, here it is, Cal. Rap on the hunted.
Yeah, and there was another, I think his name is Kevin Calcogno, because he was referenced somewhere else in the credits too, and I'm thinking it's the same guy. But looked him up, couldn't find anything, so who knows?
Okay. But yeah, I think that part's, if that part was 2/3 as long as it was, maybe even half as long as it was, I think that would have been good. And then let's listen to this first. We're going to listen to two kind of very distinct parts here in a second. And then I have something to say about it.
The end is upon you, I release my anger on you, I destroy you, then you will know that I am the Lord. The end is upon you, I release my anger on you, I destroy you, then you will know that I am the Lord. You become the hunted for decades and decades.
I'm going to use an architecture analogy, and I never use architecture analogies on this podcast, but you're going to hear my architecture side. I have a rule. Well, let me start off with this. Do you know remember about 15 years ago, you started seeing like a lot of, especially apartment buildings popping up that had just like way too many like finishes on them. Like it had brick and siding and stucco and metal panel and like other things. And there was just too many different things on them.
But it's just like the facade.
Just the facade. It's just a facade.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I have a rule, just a rule of thumb, which I'm willing to break at any moment, but it's just a rule of thumb that I remind myself of, that you get 3. You get 3 materials for a facade. If you go more than 3 materials, you got to really start asking yourself, what the fuck am I doing? Okay? Because then you're just laying it on too thick. You're trying too hard. And it becomes confused and annoying and nobody knows what's going on anymore. And rap rock is already a fusion genre, right?
Yeah.
So in your rap rock song, you get 1 more. You get either the Gregorian chant or the reggae. You don't get both. You have to make a decision. Art is about making hard decisions, and you get 1. 1 of those.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. Fair.
All right.
I kind of liked the Gregorian chant, but I don't think it works here.
No, it does not. I think the reggae thing works better.
Yes, agreed. I liked that they were willing to do it, but yeah, it felt like a real weird mashup.
And look, if they had done the hard job of choosing only 1, we would have appreciated it and been like, good job, guys. That was fun. But they didn't. I think this song actually has a pretty strong ending coming back from that. But once again, it just goes on too long. And then at the end, it does this. Well, let me play a little bit here of the nice ending I think it has.
I've escaped with my life by the grace of God. You become the haunted. You become the haunted.
In the song, guys.
You become the haunted.
In the song.
You become the haunted.
Holy shit, was that Dynasty? Did someone just turn on Dynasty on a TV? Why did it do that da-da-da-da-da at the end? Why? I don't know.
I have one song coming up. I can't wait to talk about the ending because I was just like, what the fuck? But we're not there yet.
Okay. I think some smart editing for this song would have helped a lot, but I do still think it's a fun song. I really like the other rapper who comes in. I like, I think the Gregorian chant can stay if you really want to. If you make some other hard decisions, the Gregorian chant can maybe stay. Like if all the verses are 2/3 as long, maybe I'll let you keep the Gregorian chant. But
you just talked about editing, and that was another thought I had while listening to this whole album. Is I was like, I think they could have used a more hands-on, like producer, engineer type person, like
which is something we said about the last album too.
Yeah, like somebody should have been like, that chorus is not good enough. Let's rework it, and then let's record it. Kind of thing. Because I was thinking about it also when you were playing a song. I was like, man, Insyderz is the one band like I actually don't remember any of their songs, and I think it's really because they're not very catchy. I feel like a real asshole saying that, but like if you asked me to like sing a Supertone song or a 5-Iron song, I could sing multiple ones.
Me too. Yes.
And Insyderz is the one where I'm like scratching my head, going like.
I remember Trigger Happy as a song, but I couldn't sing it to you. I
think that's why like they were so popular with the Scalaluya stuff because it was like catchy songs. But yeah.
Which is interesting because they're not great arrangers of even their own songs.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just too many things. Maybe they didn't have enough creative brains going on.
I don't know. I know we sound like big assholes, but like there are some great parts on this. It's just as a whole, I really think what really kills the songs is like they're just not catchy enough. They're not super memorable. The lyrics, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's get to the lyrics. I'm going to try to not be an asshole here. My notes are TLDR, I hope you find what you're looking for, get over that, or rise to the occasion or whatever. I don't know. It's 3 pages long.
Yeah, it's really fucking long.
That's all. Do Do you have anything to say about the lyrics here, Jay? I didn't read them.
I just want to say Clifton's not lying. Like, we usually copy and paste these in our notes on Google Docs, like, you know, to have it. And literally it is 3 pages long.
It's forever.
Like, literally, he's not lying. It took me forever to copy this, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, all right. Do you have anything to say about, we're going to skip some songs finally. Do you have anything to say about Game Day or
No.
Forgive and Forget?
No, I was just so relieved we could skip
Me
some.
too, yeah. We're also skipping an instrumental called Trinidad, which was one of our criticisms of the first album, was that the instrumental on that was boring and unnecessary, and I think the same thing here, honestly.
Now, I will say one thing about them that I mean, they do a little bit more, I think, traditional ska than like, well, definitely than Five Iron, and I think even a little more than Supertones. So whether that's good or bad, I don't know, but I think they do hew to that a little bit more, and so that is something.
It can be fun.
You know,
I agree. All right, so the next song we're covering is Rat Race, which is track 8. I don't think this is a bad song, Jay. I think it has kind of a, it's a ska song with a dancey, bouncy thing going on.
Yeah, it's very like third wave-ish type ska. Like it's very I
agree. I don't want to start at the beginning because they just repeat themselves. So we'll start here at the second time they say, I don't think it's the same verse. No, it's not. Okay. But it is the second verse, which is very similar to the first verse. And then, so we're going to listen to this here. But once again, I think the chorus just...
I don't know a lot about science, but I do know that I'm not a hairless saint. I don't know anything about really being cool, that's feeling or taste great. I don't know if you call being in the sky career really holding down a job. I don't know what I'm gonna do in my old age, but I'll always praise my guy,
It's just a fun little song, I think.
Yeah, but, and I hope people listening to it heard this too, like, the verse is kind of like, at least the melody of the verse is kind of fun. That works. It has a great horn part after it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets into the chorus, which again is just kind of a letdown. You're like...
And it actually slows down. Like the vocals slow down.
Right. Yeah, the
verses,
verses...
like halftime.
The verses were upbeat, kind of had their own little melody going throughout it. The horn part is great, but and then it's just like,
Yeah. Then, like 2/3 of the way through the song, we kind of get this slowed down bridge thing. That's not bad, but it lasts the entire rest of the song, which is a minute and a half. So we've had 2 minutes and 45 seconds of that, and then we get a minute and a half of slowness, and then it ends on the slowness. I think it needed to come back. It needed to like come back to the fastness, even if it was just like ba 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 ba, and that's it, like. But it. Maybe this is where they're bringing what they've learned doing Scalaluya, where they're like just having some fun with some horn parts, right? Just having a chill time. And there's nothing slowing down for a few beats, for a few measures in a fast song is a great way to accentuate how fast and fun the song is. But this just keeps we're halfway through the slow part. It just does that through the end.
You want to talk about the lyrics?
Yeah, because they really set themselves up here for some.
This is definitely one where I felt like, oh shit, I kind of know what I want this to be about, but I got to fill up a lot of space with lyrics.
Yes, right.
And yeah, he was really struggling. It's a pity too, because these verse lyrics are pretty bad, but like the melody of the verses were the best part,
Yes.
But the words that are actually there, not great.
Yeah, because it's mostly like, if we read the first line here, it's going to give you the idea. I don't want to be a race car driver in a rat race. So it's all just kind of like things he doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be a metalhead because metal's vicious, He doesn't want to be a farmer because he doesn't know how to milk a chicken.
Right.
And things like that. He doesn't know much about science, but he knows that he ain't no fucking ape.
Yeah.
Don't know where that one came from. Settle down, Joe.
I believe in evolution.
There's also just some really weird ones in here. I don't want my stupid ways to make me miss my train. Next stop to glory.
And you didn't read the one part I thought you were going to, and I see it highlighted. Are you going to get to that one?
Yes. This one right here.
Yeah.
I don't want to be one of them men in blue hanging out in donut shops. So if you haven't heard our first episode on the Insyderz, you don't know what happens in the where are they now portion, which is that Joe is a cop. And so my note here is just, you made some wrong decisions then. Okay.
Well,
Yeah. But once again, there's also some persecution in this, Jay. I don't know much, but one thing is true. All I want to do is live my life for you, no matter what other people say.
Yep.
And also, let's judge this on their own standard of reaching out to the unwashed masses without this being an obvious Christian album. Please, God, give me peace, give me hope, and give me grace and the strength to see my life through.
Mm-hmm.
That's the chorus.
Yeah.
Fail again, guys. Fail again. All right, let's keep moving because we're going to cover one more song. The next song is actually a cover of Just What I Needed. It's a fine cover of Just What I Needed. I don't think it's as good as the Goaty Hook cover around the same time of Just What I Needed by the Cars, but I think it is a good cover of Just What I Needed.
Also, Just What I Needed is such a good song. It's kind of hard to screw it up.
It is hard to mess it up. It's so good. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. I know you're supposed to be doing this part, but I just want to say one thing. For next song, 10, Fight of My Life, it's the title of the album.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I hate the album artwork, they are supposed to look like gangsters. We heard song, number was that before? Number 4, The Hunted. You talked about that kind of hardcore song on their last album. Again, this song is called Fight of My Life. And then when you play it, I'll just say I was scratching my head a little bit.
Yes.
It's not what I was expecting to hear.
Yeah, so it's got what we would have called at the time kind of a swing thing going on.
Yeah, it's kind of like jazzy.
Yeah. Every time I listen to this song, okay, so I listened to a lot of this in Moises because I didn't want to listen to it in Spotify. In Moises, you can turn off tracks, so like you can turn off the drums or you can turn off the bass, whatever, And every time I listened to this song, I was like, do I have all the I do have all the tracks on. Okay, guess that's just what it's supposed to sound like.
Yeah, we'll get to it in a minute. I have major questions about one part of the song, like as far as like production goes.
Yeah. I think the vocals are annoying in the verse. And I'm going to play the end of a verse here into the chorus. But I will say, I think this is the best chorus on the album.
Listen, I actually agree with you.
Okay.
I just cannot understand what the fuck they're saying. It's like it
I
got
think
all
that's okay.
muddy, and I don't really. I'm like, what did they do here?
Something's in the air tonight. I feel it in my bones. When it rains down, everybody will know. Better knock it off, it's about time. Better bring your noise, 'cause I'm bringing mine. Then we'll go down swinging every time. For the fight for my life.
And I kind of like that. I think that proves here in their own album that you don't necessarily have to be, hooky or catchy to have a really good chorus. It can just be melodic and fun,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's what this one does. And I kind of just like sitting through this chorus. Yeah, it's a little bit mumbly. You can't make out the lyrics exactly, which is fine. We'll get to them later, and they're violent. And but I think it's nice. I think it also reminds me a lot of MXPX, I think.
I can see that. Yeah.
But I think I think it works. I think it's the only part of the song that works. So later on, there's this instrumental bridge with some people yelling in the background. And it works, it has some more good, fun horn parts, I think. I don't know what it has to do with the chorus, but it's fun. And then we get to another rendition of the chorus. I think this is one of my notes here. Yeah. This kind of rendition of the chorus is a little bit harder. I think it's kind of more what I was hoping for from this song, from this album, I think, a little bit.
Better knock it off, it's about time. Better bring your noise, 'cause I'm bringing mine. Then we'll go down swinging every time. What a fight for my life.
Remember how we just had an instrumental chorus?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to get another one. But this one has the advantage of being more boring. That's from something. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I think it's like da 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 da, like the Egyptian thing.
Mhm.
So, and then coming up is a dark and gritty part, I think, for the first time that's truly appreciable on this album.
Better knock it off, it's about time. Better bring your noise, 'cause I'm bringing mine. Go down swinging every time for the fight of my life. Better knock it off, it's about time. Better bring your noise, 'cause I'm bringing mine. Go down swinging every time for the fight of my life.
And right back into the ba 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 part, So we got gritty for 30 seconds.
Yeah, this song is probably the best one. I just was a little taken aback by the title, and I was expecting something different, but it's not bad.
I think the swing pop punk thing could have worked.
Mhm.
I don't know if Fight of My Life was the right choice for it.
Yeah. I agree.
Like you're saying. But I think in another situation it could have been a fun song. I don't think the swing part lends towards the grittiness that you're probably trying to evoke with Fight of My Life. So I think that's weird and it doesn't work real well. But it is maybe the best song on the album.
Can you play from where you are on there just to the end? Because this is the one song that's like, what the hell happened when it ends?
I don't know. I gave up on it.
About time. Better bring your noise, 'cause I'm bringing mine.
literally, I was listening to my car yesterday, and even though I've listened to this song several times, when that happened yesterday, I was like, "Oh, did my thing stop playing?"
I know. It's just like they just gave up. They ran out of money. I don't know what the fuck happened right there. It was so weird. And there is one more song, but it's like a different version. So technically, this is kind of like
there's a producer's version of Paradise,
and then there's some weird ass hidden track at the end of it that's just bizarre.
Yeah, just used
this is like the last real song, and it's just like,
yeah,
what the fuck? Like you could have done 5 more seconds and actually like closed it out. I don't know. It's just so
throw
weird.
the Dynasty thing there. Put the Dynasty thing there, and not at the end of the hardcore song.
Right. It was just so weird.
Yeah. All right, lyrics.
Oh.
Yeah. The first line is, "We're the hated ones," and it's a good. I love the Insyderz self-persecution complex. My note is, are you? Maybe people just hate hearing about how you're hated all the time, and maybe that's why they don't like you.
Well, Clifton, they are the Insyderz. So
yeah. They say something about all the evil forces that claim to have rights of our souls and of our families. I think that's probably about us evil secular people who don't want you to be able to force your religion on other people just because they're near you. And then, of course, it's going to get violent because it's a Christian album. And so they have a line here that's, "Bring your brass knuckles and your baseball bat. Something's in the air, I feel it in my bones, and when it rains down, everybody will know." And then into the chorus. Jay, the chorus that you couldn't understand is this. "Better knuckle up, it's about time. Bring your noise, because I'm bringing mine. I'll go down swinging every time for the fight of my life." And then there's another verse, and it's still just this very vague, like, "I'm fighting for something, you can't stop me, the conflict's already here, the battle's at hand." But there's never any, but why? The first line is, "The lines have been drawn," but what have they been drawn for?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a very vague, "Aren't we persecuted?" Well, you keep persecuting me for being a self-righteous asshole. You're going to see what a self-righteous asshole is. True Alex Jones bullshit. And you would never guess that this was a Christian album because the lines in here are, "So please God help me. I'm ready for action. I'm ready to attack. If someone goes down, I'll take up their slack. We strike like lightning with a nuclear blast. And when the smoke clears, then we'll see who stands."
Jesus.
Fucking secular ass.
Yeah.
Gonna see what a fucking self-righteous asshole is. It really does, like, as someone who listens to way too much Alex Jones because I listen to Knowledge Fight, this sounds like Alex Jones.
It's just like, we've talked about this before, but when you just so easily throw around violent phrases and imagery, it's not too long before, like, people start to take that more seriously, and you have stuff like January 6th and God knows what after that,
Mm-hmm. Yep. I have a bunch of reviews for this album.
Okay, so we finished talking about the album itself. Give us some reviews, and then we can do a little bit of we'll close up, and you can do the where are they now and stuff. But oh wow, you do have a bunch of reviews. Okay,
I have a bunch of reviews. So my first thoughts on this is, why are we all pretending like the Insyderz were anywhere near as good as the Supertones or even 5 Iron Frenzy especially? They were not. They had a few catchy songs on their first album. This album is mostly a dud, and they did Scallelujah, which is making praise songs not miserable. Man, I'm dark. We gotta stop this, Jay. Let's do a different album. Is it too late to change?
It's too late, man.
All right. So this is my favorite. I posted this on Facebook yesterday for everyone to see. This review comes from Amazon. It says, "Even though I'm not a religious person at all, in fact, I like to drink, smoke, and have sex, make love, with as many girls as possible. But apart from the words, the CD just rocks. These guys are so talented, it's unbelievable. They're even better than Real Big Fish, Catch-22, and Golden Finger all together. If I was you, I would buy the CD no matter if you're religious or not.
Does he like to drink, smoke, and have sex with as many girls as possible?
With,
or just
with as many...
just have
oh,
sex
you're
with
wondering,
as many girls as possible?
Yeah, it is missing an Oxford comma, which does make it seem like those are all meant to be together at the same time.
Okay.
That is
Just to
correct.
clarify. So.
Yes. Thank you. I forget where this one's from. All of these are linked, but I forget where this one specifically is from. It says, with a twist of rock and roll and a dash of ska all over some crunchy guitars and a punk sensibility, the Insyderz are a 6-piece. Anyways, it goes on. This is a pretty positive review. There's some positive reviews in here, but they gave this one a 9 out of 10. And the last line here is, most of the tracks on Fight of My Life have catchy choruses and hooks in them, and this album is a joyful, surging celebration. And I disagree with every word in that sentence.
You know, as you're reading these, I think this was a tendency too, back in the day, especially from Christian publications, is like, because they had so little exposure to different styles of music, anytime anything sort of new came along, I felt like it got a good review just because it was like, oh my God, it's ska. Like, these guys talk about Jesus and it's ska. It's great.
One of the Amazon ones I didn't include in here was someone saying, I love Christian ska. Insyderz are in my top 5 Christian ska bands. Name 4 others.
Right.
All right. This one is from a GeoCities website that I don't remember the name of. It says, this album has more slower songs and doesn't have as much upbeat songs as the first. And I agree with that one. This person's also annoyed that 2 of the songs are from the single that came out beforehand. And there's an instrumental in here. So there's only like 7 real songs in this album. Which I think is fair.
Yeah.
This next one is from Jesus Freak Hideout. And it says, this disc surely puts 5 Iron to shame and is hot on the heels of the Supertones. This one is from HM. In just a few short years, this group has become one of the most highly respected ska bands in the Christian market, because it's one of the only ones. Joe Yerk's gritty yet variety-conscious vocals can compete with the likes of the Boss Tones, etc. I first off appreciate the reference to the Boss Tones, which is hilarious, and I second off appreciate that it says etc. It's like, name one and then etc. Not 2 things. Usually if you're going to use etc., it's got to come after at least 2 things. Right. like the Boss Tones, and I'm sure there's other bands that sound like this. Right. Who knows? I couldn't be bothered to care. The last little thing I have here is kind of weird. It just says, it kind of goes, this is from the 7 Ball article that I was reading from earlier, and it kind of goes through some like struggles that some of the guys have gone through in their life. And then it gets to the drummer, whatever his name is, Shorgan. Right. He has a completely different kind of struggle. One that may be difficult for mainstream kids to understand, but one of the Christian community certainly can relate to. He says he got wrapped up in a movement called straight edge that he now refers to as a subculture. It was a discipline you align yourself with where there's no drinking, no smoking, no sex. It's purification of the self, but only for reasons of the self. I was caught up in a self-righteous movement. I was hardline strict on myself, but not to glorify God, just for myself. Can you believe that, Jay? He did it for himself.
Oh, yeah, I can definitely believe that.
Yeah. If you're going to be a self-righteous asshole, you need to do it for God. Come on, guys, get with it. All right, that's all I have. We've talked about the cover art. It's bad. It's pretentious and weird.
It's just not... Yeah, they're trying to look at gangsters, and it just...
But like 20s gangsters. Like pure... But what pure... I can't think of the word right now.
But it...
You know when they stop selling alcohol?
Yeah, Prohibition.
Prohibition era gangsters.
Yeah, like Al Capone type. But this is like... It just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. That guy looks like Data from Star Trek.
If you guys could see who's pointing to, it would probably be funnier. But it just
I'm sorry, he looks so spot on.
It just like Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm
obviously
sorry.
a lot of money in it. Like, it's so many pages long, too. It took forever to skim.
And I'm sorry. The way they spell their band name has always driven me crazy. It always will. Like, why could they not spell it correctly? Because there was another band called the Insyderz spelled
That's a great question. Probably
the other way. Because please tell me you didn't just choose this on purpose. Like, oh, hey, well, you do a Z at the end instead of an S. Like, come on.
Sorry, I'm looking at, they have a quote here from the Bible, and it's quoted as Jesus Christ, Matthew 11:28, John 6:31, 6:40, and 17:3, which means they basically just cobbled together a quote from Jesus, because, like, Jesus never said this, but we're going to make him fucking say this.
Yeah. We should do that, Clifton. We just pull a word from one verse, a word from another verse. We can make Jesus say any fucking thing we want.
All right, sorry. But yeah, overall, it's just mediocre. Overall, I think is my problem with this album.
Also, did you notice the verses inside the booklet? Like, people are definitely gonna know this is a Christian album.
Yeah, I mean, come on, who are you kidding?
Right. Where are they now, Clifton?
Joe's a cop, and that Nate guy's a pastor. I sent you that church he's a pastor of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know other than that.
Okay.
Yeah. I will say their Wikipedia page has improved from our first episode. When we did our first episode, their Wikipedia page literally looked like it was typed by themselves. And it was pretty funny. It was like on January 18th, Joe had a bouncing baby boy. Wife and kid are fine. It was things like, I mean, for real, it was things like that. Their Wikipedia page has come a long way since then.
Well, and they have played recently. They played at Furnace Fest.
Yes.
In the fall, and I think they played a few other shows last year. I don't know if they played any this year, but they still are like doing stuff occasionally.
Yep.
Do you have an award for this album?
I'm giving this the Quantity is Job 1 award.
So the name of a 5-iron?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But where 5-Iron Frenzy bristled against it negatively, these guys feel like they're just on board with Quantity. They've done 3 albums in like 16 months, and none of them are very good. One of them got really popular, but it was just covers. And so it's just all about putting out stuff as fast as possible. Like early the next year, they would put out Scallelujah 2, and then they would just stop for a while. Yeah.
Okay.
Quantity selling records is job 1.
Beats you just heard clarifying, terrifying. In the midst of a storm, no norm can warn you of the storm from the north side. Detroit, Rock City, hot child feeling pretty, nitty gritty. It's a pity that the disc don't revolve. You'll ask me once again to play it.
Clifton, what are we doing next?
We are covering Starflyer 59's EP, Les Veniqueur.
I don't know how to say it either. I didn't take French.
Les Veniqueur. Les Veniqueur. Les Veniqueur. I don't know.
In my memory, I love this EP. I have actually not heard the whole thing in a long time because it's not actually on Spotify or anything. But we will play it.
Is it on YouTube?
And we will talk about it.
We gotta take care of that.
I know. If it's not, we should put it up there.
Yeah, I'll put it on YouTube if it's not there. Okay, cool. All right, sounds fun. Getting back to Starflyer. This will be our 3rd Starflyer.
I know, but considering
Wow.
Starflyer has like 20-something albums, I feel like that's fair.
It's not. Yeah, yeah. Good point. All right. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Your Music Saved Us.
If you enjoyed your time with us, please leave us a review or share this episode. Visit patreon.com/YMSU to contribute and get extended episodes. Visit our website, yourmusicsavedus.com, to find out all the ways to listen. We're on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Join our Facebook group or follow us to keep up with the latest or interact with us, and send complaints and disagreements to yourmusicsavedus@gmail.com.
The music in this episode is the work of the Insyderz. Did you hear me pronounce the Z? And is used with apologies, not permission. Their 2 later albums, which were done, one was a self-release and one was done on an independent label called The Sinner's Songbook and Soundtrack to Revolution. Those are both on Bandcamp. Everything else is just in the world of Christian memorabilia. Bye.
Bye, everybody.